Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik. Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, 38 years repairing and servicing vehicles in Vancouver and 18-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver as voted by their customers. How you doing, Bernie?
Doing very well.
So we're talking about a 2012 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 3500 that had some issues with the rear sway bar bushings. What was going on with this vehicle?
Well, we did an inspection on this vehicle and found that the rear sway bar bushings were worn. Nothing was noted while driving the vehicle, but you could see with looking at the bar and the bushing, which holds the sway bar to the rear axle, that there was a fair bit of wear in the bushings.
So is that a common issue on this vehicle?
It is actually. Mercedes built these bushings a little too small, and I'm going to share a photo in a second which shows the replacement. They made an upgraded bushing which is substantially different in size. It's kind of interesting. So let's get right to the photo right now. So here we go. So this is the old sway bar bushing right here, and this is the new sway bar bushing. Now it looks a little weird. It doesn't have the sway bar is a round bar, and for some reason the replacement bushings were not round, but they conform to that shape once you put it all together. So the sway bar bushing basically the bar was loose inside the bushing. And if you look at these brackets, they've made an upgraded bracket mount as well. So you can see it's substantially different in size. In order to put this thing together, we have to use some clamps and things just to hold it all together because it fits much tighter. But they definitely, when they built this vehicle, made this bushing much too small for the type of vehicle. So this is basically the upgrade. And so now once this is upgraded, of course, if the bushings were ever to wear again, we could just replace the bushing and not the whole bracket.
Okay, so silly question. What does a sway bar bushing and sway bar do for a vehicle?
Basically, the sway bar keeps the vehicle, it keeps it stable when you go around corners. The vehicle doesn't sway. The body doesn't roll quite as much. It keeps the body from pitching and rolling when you go around a corner. So it kind of uses the energy from one side and transfers it to the other side of the vehicle and keeps it more stable.
And the bushings, what do they do?
Well, the bushings just hold the bar. What happens is the bar is either mounted to the frame of the vehicle on one side, the axle or the control arms, depending on whether it's front or rear, on the other end. So normally the sway bar bushings are mounted to the frame of the vehicle, and then the sway bar links, which links to the control arm, say on the front. And so any of those parts can wear the link to the bushing, but the bushing basically just holds the bar to the frame. But it's made of rubber, so it's made of metal, because you don't banging. It can be a horrifically noisy item.
And how are the front sway bar bushings?
Yeah, they were fine. They're actually designed well in this vehicle. There was no wear whatsoever. So clearly the rears, they for some reason made them a little too small, and they were much quicker.
And with someone, how would you know if you're driving the vehicle would you even know that the bushings were worn out?
Well, on a truck like this, this is a large truck. It's actually a cab with a box on the back. It would be really hard to know that the sway bar bushings were worn until they were actually worn much worse than what we found. If they wore much worse, the rubber would deteriorate. You actually have a banging sound or a creaking sound when the metal of the bar was rubbing against the mount, the sway bar mount. But in this case, it wasn't worn that badly, so you wouldn't really know. But on a lot of cars, you'll hear, like, you go over bumps, you hear like a thumping sound. A little easier to hear on a car than it is on a large truck, but that's the kind of thing you notice. The thumping sound or creaking. These are things you should get looked at on your car to see what's actually wrong with it.
And how often do you estimate you've seen redesigned, beefed up parts like this?
You know, it happens from time to time. I mean, most manufacturers get it right the first time, but every once in a while we come across something like this bushing where, wow, okay, like, they clearly recognize something wasn't built right. I mean, obviously, you know, every Sprinter that's been made, they've had to replace them with this upgraded part until they finally start selling the upgraded piece. on newer models, but we see it more with electronic parts. I'm thinking like in these vehicles, you know, the 3-liter diesel engine with low plug point, they redesign those because they tend to fail a lot. So more with electronic parts than mechanical items, but from time to time we see it.
So there you go. If you're looking for some service on your Sprinter van in Vancouver, the guys to see are Pawlik Automotive. You can reach them at 604-327-7112 to book your appointment. Check out their website, pawlikautomotive.com, or the YouTube channel, Pawlik Automotive Repair. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark.